Have you ever wondered what you will truly leave for future generations? Not in possessions, but in presence, wisdom, and example. As time passes, we learn that the true legacy lies not in the things we accumulate, but in the way we touch the hearts of others. Every gesture of kindness, every calm word, every look of compassion becomes a seed planted in the soil of life. This is the essence of the Shaolin legacy, a wisdom that is not imposed but transmitted naturally, like the scent of a flower spreading in the wind. The Shaolin masters said that to teach is to live consciously, that the way we walk, eat, listen, and love is already a lesson. And perhaps this is what the world needs most from us right now. Less speech, more presence. Less haste, more example. Take a deep breath for a moment. Feel the silence within yourself. It is there that the wisdom you already carry resides. The wisdom that can inspire children, grandchildren, friends, and even strangers. If this message touched your heart, please like and share this video with someone you believe also carries a living legacy within. And stay with me, because in the next few minutes we'll understand how the ancient wisdom of the Shaolin monks can teach us to transmit what is most precious, the peace that arises from within. Chapter 2. The Ancestral Wisdom of the Shaolin monks over 1,500 years ago. In the Songshan mountains of China, a temple emerged that would become a symbol of balance between body and spirit, the Shaolin Temple. But the true legacy of these monks lies not only in martial arts or physical discipline. It lies in the silent serenity of those who learn to live in harmony with the universe. The Shaolin masters believe that human beings are like a river. If they try to control the course of the waters too much, they create turbulence. But if they learn to flow, they discover the wisdom of the natural movement of life. Therefore, every gesture within the temple was a spiritual practice, sweeping the floor, serving tea, breathing in silence, meditating beneath the sound of the wind. No moment was trivial because in each one there was an invitation to presence. The ancient monks said, "There is no separation between the sacred and the ordinary. Everything is sacred when done with awareness." And this is perhaps one of the most profound lessons we can bring to the modern world, where haste and distraction consume our peace. Shaolin wisdom reminds us that every moment can become a form of meditation, listening without judgment, walking slowly, cooking mindfully, conversing tenderly. In the temple, disciples learned not just from words, but from the master's posture. If the master remained calm in the face of difficulty, they learned resilience. If the master smiled when falling, they learned humility. If the master remained silent in the face of offense, they learned self-control and compassion. This invisible transmission was called living teaching, a wisdom that passes from heart to heart, from attitude to attitude, like a flame that ignites another without extinguishing. That's why great masters were almost never quick to speak. They knew that true learning comes from example, not explanation. Today, even far from the temples, this wisdom lives on. It manifests itself when you face a challenge calmly, when you forgive someone who hurt you, when you choose not to respond with anger. In each of these gestures, there is a reflection of Shaolin wisdom, silent, yet transformative. Take a deep breath now. Realize that this sacred temple also exists within you. You don't need to withdraw from the world to live mindfully. Simply be fully present in each moment. This is true practice. And just as the monks transmitted their teachings by example, we too can leave our mark through the way we live. Every day, life offers us opportunities to be masters, even without realizing it. In the next few minutes, we will understand how time, instead of weakening us, can make us even wiser. Because age, in the eyes of Shaolin Buddhism, is the fertile soil where the true treasure of experience flourishes. Chapter 3. the value of experience, when age becomes treasure. There comes a moment in the journey when the body slows down, but the soul awakens. Silver hair, wrinkles, and a more serene pace are not signs of loss. They are marks of those who have walked far enough to understand that life is made of cycles, and that true strength lies in knowing one's own heart. On the Shaolin path, aging is not seen as a decline, but as the blossoming of inner wisdom. When the body no longer needs to prove itself so much, the spirit begins to teach. The gaze becomes more compassionate, judgment dissolves, and haste gives way to contemplation. Time then ceases to be an enemy and becomes a silent master. The monks used to say, "The young fight the wind, the old learn to dance with it." This dance is symbolic of the balance born of experience. With each challenge faced, with each loss endured, something within us matures. A deeper patience, a gentler clarity, and that's what the elderly carry. Not ready-made answers, but a calm presence that embraces the mystery of life. Perhaps you felt this. Things that once irritated you now only make you smile. Urgent needs that once seemed vital now seem small. This is the sign that the soul is maturing. You haven't lost your strength. You've simply transformed it. Now your energy manifests as wisdom, as calm, as inner light. In the Shaolin monastery, younger disciples always bowed before older masters, not just out of respect, but out of recognition. They knew that behind their silence, there were stories of overcoming, pain, and rebirth. Every wrinkle was seen as a trace of the Dharma, the path of truth imprinted on the human face. And you too carry this sacred map. Every memory, every decision, every scar tells a part of your learning. Time has made you a guardian of wisdom. And now, this wisdom wants to be shared, not through speeches, but through the way you live. Take a deep breath. Realize that there is something precious within you that time has not taken away. A serene presence, a gaze filled with compassion, a love that no longer needs words to be felt. This is the living heritage you offer the world. In the next few moments, we will discover how to transmit this wisdom without having to say a single word, only by living so consciously that presence itself becomes a teaching. Chapter 4. Teaching without words. Transmission through presence. There are teachings that don't need to be spoken. They reveal themselves in the way someone walks, breathes, looks, or listens. In the silence between one word and the next, in the calm in the face of chaos, there is a wisdom that touches deeper than any speech. It is presence, the living teaching that Shaolin masters considered the most powerful of all. In ancient temples, monks spent years observing their masters in silence. It was not an empty silence, but a space of listening. The disciple learned by watching the master light a candle, prepare tea, sweep the floor. No gesture was small, because each movement expressed the state of mind. When the master moved lightly, the disciple realized body and spirit can act in harmony. When the master bowed before another, the student understood humility is the purest strength. When the master smiled even in the face of pain, the disciple learned serenity is true victory. This is the essence of transmission through presence, a teaching that communicates through energy, not words. And it doesn't belong only to monks. It's also in each of us. When you listen to someone patiently, you teach the importance of listening. When you act with compassion, you teach the value of kindness. When you forgive, you show that peace is possible. You may never have realized it, but someone has already learned from your example. It may have been a child observing your calmness, a grandchild imitating your way of saying thank you before eating, a friend inspired by your silent faith. These simple gestures are like subtle echoes of wisdom, seeds that germinate at the right time. The monks used to say, "One candle does not teach another to shine. It merely approaches and lights it. It is the same with the human soul. When our inner light is kindled, it awakens the radiance in others. Therefore, there is no need to convince, just live. There is no need to speak of love, just be. Love. Breathe for a moment. Notice the calm space within. Yourself. It is from there that true influence comes. The silent vibration that reaches others effortlessly. This is the purest form of teaching, being what we wish to inspire. And when we live this way, our presence becomes a temple, and our way of life, a silent prayer. In the next few moments, let's reflect on what happens when we stop passing on this wisdom, when the link between generations begins to weaken. Because knowledge only stays alive when it keeps flowing, like a river that never stops running. Chapter 5. The danger of breaking the chain of wisdom. There is a silent risk that haunts modern times, that of letting wisdom get lost in the noise and haste. When we don't share what we've learned, when we don't tell our stories, when we let the silence of fear or indifference replace the silence of awareness, the chain of wisdom begins to weaken. The Shaolin masters used to warn, a river that stops flowing becomes mud. So it is with wisdom. When we stop passing it on, it loses the fluidity, the freshness, the brilliance it once had. It's not that knowledge disappears all at once. It simply slumbers, waiting for someone to awaken it again. Today we live surrounded by information, but far from true understanding. Younger generations often no longer look to their elders as guardians of wisdom, and the elderly, tired of not being heard, begin to silently guard what could one day illuminate other paths. It's as if the sacred fire that a master lit 1,000 years ago is in danger of being extinguished, not for lack of value, but for lack of willing hands to tend the flame. But there's still time. You can rekindle this chain. Simply tell a story, share a memory, offer tender advice, or simply listen. Because listening is also a way of transmitting wisdom. Every word spoken with compassion, every gesture filled with patience, is a link that keeps wisdom alive in the world. Remember, you are part of this chain. What you learned from your parents, teachers, and experiences is not just yours. It belongs to life, and it wants to continue flowing. By sharing it, you don't lose it. You strengthen it. And this is what keeps the Shaolin spirit alive. The continuous cycle between the learner and the teacher, between the receiver and the giver. Take a deep breath now. Feel that there is still fire within you. Even though your body has slowed down, there is an ancient light in your chest. The light of those who came before you, asking only one thing, that you continue. In the next few moments, we will understand how to transmit this flame with awareness, transforming the act of teaching into a true spiritual ritual, a living offering of wisdom, love, and continuity. Chapter 6. Rite of Passage. The act of handing over the flame in every Shaolin temple. There is a sacred moment that marks the meeting between generations. The moment when the master passes on to the disciple the responsibility of keeping the flame of teaching alive. There is no grand ceremony, no words of exaltation. Sometimes it is just a look, a gesture, the touch of a hand resting on the shoulder. And in that silence, everything is said. The rite of passage is not just a tradition, it is a form of recognition. The master understands that his time of teaching is coming to an end, and that the disciple, now mature, can walk on his own. In this act, there is humility and love. Humility in knowing that everything is impermanent, and love in allowing wisdom to follow its natural course. The monk said, "Each generation is a torch lit by the previous one, and this torch is not made of ordinary fire, but of awareness, compassion, and presence. passing it on is more than a duty. It is a gesture of faith in the continuity of life, because what truly connects us is not blood or name, but shared learning. You can also perform this ritual, even without temples or monks around. All it takes is a moment of sincere presence. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and imagine all those who once taught you something essential. Parents, teachers, friends, even those who made you suffer. For they too were silent teachers. Mentally thank each of them, acknowledging that their wisdom lives within you. Now visualize a small flame in your chest. It is the sum total of all the lights that once guided you. With a calm heart, imagine yourself extending this flame to someone younger, a child, a grandchild, a friend, or perhaps someone you don't even know yet. You don't need to say anything. Simply wish that this person finds peace, courage, and clarity, as you have found throughout your journey. This is the true Shaolin rite of passage, handing over the flame of wisdom, not with words, but with intention. And in doing so, something profound happens. Master and disciple become one. Wisdom no longer has an owner. It belongs to the flow of life, because teaching is, in truth, an act of liberation. It is allowing what has been learned to move forward, to grow, to transform, and to illuminate new paths. Breathe again. Feel that ancient torch burning within you, the same one that has spanned centuries and now shines in your hands. And remember, every time you share your light, the world becomes a little less dark. In the next few moments, let's reflect on the beauty of this gesture, on the silent joy of seeing a seed blossom, even if the gardener has already moved on. Chapter 7. The Beauty of Seeing the Seed. Bloom. There is a moment of profound beauty in the path of one who teaches, the moment when the disciple blossoms. The master watches from a distance, in silence, and realizes that the one who once sought his guidance now walks with firm steps, guided by the light itself. And in that moment, the heart fills with gratitude, not for the glory of having taught, but for the joy of seeing life continue through another being. The Shaolin monks used to say, "The gardener does not demand that the flower acknowledge him. He simply rejoices in seeing it bloom." This is the true master, one who plants with love and allows the wind to carry their seeds wherever they need to go. They understand that learning belongs to life, not to the ego, that the disciple is not an extension of themselves, but a new expression of the same Dharma, the same essence, manifesting itself in a different way. In Shaolin wisdom, seeing someone prosper spiritually is one of the greatest gifts one can receive. And perhaps you've already felt this when you see a child mature, a grandchild act with kindness, or someone close to you find serenity after your words or gestures. These moments are small awakenings, signs that the seed of wisdom is alive, growing where the heart planted it. But there's something even deeper here. Seeing the seed blossom is also an exercise in detachment, because the master must allow the disciple to make mistakes, to walk other paths, to discover new ways of understanding the world. It is in this freedom that learning is consolidated. A flower that blooms alone is stronger than one that needs constant protection. The masters taught that silent joy is the reward for those who give without attachment. When you plant an idea, a gesture of compassion, of value, and see it germinate in another being, there is a sense of mission accomplished, a profound peace that doesn't depend on recognition. True wisdom doesn't seek to be remembered, it seeks to be lived. Take a deep breath now. Remember someone who learned something from you, even if it was something small. Feel this presence grow, blossom. Understand that, in a way, you continue to live within this person. Your example is the invisible root that sustains their growth. This is the sacred cycle of the Shaolin legacy. The master ignites the disciple ignites another, and the flame never goes out. Life goes on, transforming teaching into compassion, and compassion into new wisdom. In the next few moments, we will contemplate the final movement of this path, the invisible legacy, that which remains even when the body departs, and which continues to teach silently, generation after generation. Chapter 8. Final Reflection. The Invisible Legacy. When the body ages and silence becomes a companion, there is an understanding that emerges like the sunrise after a long night. What we truly leave in the world is not in the things we possess, but in the energy we exude through life. The invisible legacy is that which continues even when our words cease. It is the smile that inspired another to hope. It is the patience that avoided a fight. It is the hug that healed a pain without needing an explanation. It is these small gestures that become echoes of wisdom, perpetuating themselves through time like waves that never stop moving. The Shaolin masters taught that when the body departs, the spirit continues to teach through the marks it left on the hearts of others. Thus, a simple look of compassion can span generations. An act of kindness can transform into a current of love. Nothing is lost when done with pure intention. Everything transforms and continues to flow. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes and think about how many people have been touched, even if only subtly, by your presence. It may have been a neighbor, a grandchild, a distant friend. You may not know it, but something in you has already awakened the best in someone. And this is what Buddhism calls silent merit, the teaching that spreads unchecked, like the scent of a flower that doesn't choose who will smell it. The true Shaolin legacy needs no monuments or applause. It lives in simple actions, in the moments when we choose serenity over anger, forgiveness over revenge, love over pride. Each of these choices is a seed planted in the collective consciousness of humanity. And when you leave, these seeds continue to germinate, blooming in hearts you may never know. Therefore, do not fear time. It does not take away what is true. It only transforms the visible into the invisible, noise into wisdom, physical presence into light. Your legacy is a flame that time does not extinguish, only spreads. Breathe again. With gratitude, realize that who you are and what you have shared is already fulfilling its mission. The world becomes lighter when an awakened heart walks through it, and you, by living consciously, are helping the world awaken. And you, have you ever thought about what your silence will continue to teach when your words fall silent? The Shaolin legacy does not end with the end of a story. It lives on in every person who decides to live consciously, in every act of kindness that arises from an awakened heart. And if you've come this far, it's because this light already shines within you. Therefore, I invite you to join us on this journey. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this message with someone who, like you, seeks to understand the deeper meaning of life. Perhaps this person simply needs a silent reminder that wisdom is closer than they think, within their own heart. And if you'd like to continue this reflection, watch the video now on the screen. See you there, in the next breath, in the next teaching, on the same path of peace. Because the journey of wisdom never ends. It simply changes form and continues to blossom in silence.